This is BS. This is BS. Why are we here? I am going to call corporate.
Who the hell gave this guy a video camera? Welcome, I guess, into another edition of BSing with Big Nate. Good luck.
That is Pathway, Cut Me Loose on another edition of BS with Big Nate. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing it back home to the New River Valley, if you will. I've gone all over the place lately, and glad to bring it right back here. I am joined by Billy, Erica, Ryan. Guys, hello.
How you doing?
How's it going?
So, first of all, I will point out, before the meeting, I was making fun of Ryan for his blurred background, but he unblurred it, and now we can see his Steelers blanket in full glory. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I just wanted to point it out. It's kind of what we do here, is make observations. So, first of all, I want to talk about Pathway and the project. I want to talk about the track. I feel like there's no better place to start. Of course, anyone who's gone to any event in the New River Valley probably knows or has seen you guys in varying degrees, varying facets. So you guys are all fairly musical. What's the genesis of Pathway?
I guess it was probably like Eric and I had the band The Antecedents for a few years, and it was a different musical direction than we had ever taken. We were trying to branch out. I had started writing songs more acoustically after Aside Oceans had broken up and moved on, and so that kind of evolved into The Antecedents. But Erica and I and Ryan, who I've played with since we were teenagers.
Ryan started out in the side too.
Yeah. But Ryan, we all have like heavier roots. We all were really big into like the hardcore and metal scene growing up, and touring in our early 20s and things like that. And we just kind of always wanted to get back to that sound of the heavier music, and Pathway was like probably a project that I always wanted, and never really had the capability, or was always kind of like the person behind the scenes as opposed to the person being the creative mindset behind it. And Pathway just grew and grew and grew. And toward the end of The Antecedents, Erica and I noticed that a lot of the music we started writing was more geared toward, a heavier sound. And we decided that it was probably best to start something new, and hence Pathway began.
So, of course, this is the debut single, and there's a lot of influences kind of at play here. And I'm going to tell you what I hear.
Sure.
And then I want to kind of pick your brains from there. But to me, it sounds like Brand New, Thrice, and Dead Can Dance all had a baby.
Sure.
Check.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've loved Brand New since I was a teenager. Same with Thrice. And, much like their evolution over the years, both of those bands, I kind of feel like I've evolved with their sounds as well. It's like my teenage years, I was really into pop punk and, hardcore and metal. And then, you grow up and you become a more evolved musician, and you learn more about your craft, and you decide to write your songs a little differently. And, but yes, Brand New, Thrice, we all love 90s rock too.
Yeah.
That's a big influence on all of us as well. So yeah, you're hitting it pretty well on the head there, man.
Yeah, and a funny story about Cut Me Loose, if I can. So Billy brought the bones of the idea, and he and I used to write music a lot back in our teens and early 20s, like he said. And he comes over to the house one night and has the idea. And I have another buddy, one of my neighbors, over. He's not musical at all, has no background in music, not a songwriter. And we're kind of sitting here kicking ideas back and forth, putting this song together and bouncing it off of my buddy's ears as just a casual listener. And so for me, who, Billy and I wrote music early on, and then I stepped away from music for a while. So kind of coming back, feeling the same vibe that we had when we were younger, and putting a song together in my basement was, it was magic. So that's what we get.
So the other thing I kind of want to pick at here is like I said, I think I was first introduced to you, Erica, and Billy with the Antecedents, and then kind of found Aside Oceans, and we kind of gone through this weird musical evolution in the area. How do you approach, like, of course, when you start a new project, like, is it like we're starting from scratch, or I've got all these ideas that I had throughout that time that were just unused, and now maybe this is the venue for it?
Honestly, like with this project, maybe in the past it was kind of that way, but it was like we decided that we wanted to start something new, and then the pandemic happened. So like we had all this time on our hands. So I sat home and worked on tunes constantly. And you know, truth be told, Pathway has a record worth of material at this point. You know, we're just taking our time, you know, and but yeah, it was like really honestly, everything's been pretty organic with this group, and it's been pretty natural, really. You know, everybody are so like-minded and on the same page about the sound and what we want to accomplish, you know, and the types of songs we want to write. So this has probably been one of the easier projects to get off the ground, I'd say, for sure.
But I will add, I think we have one song that we played as the antecedents that we've kind of flipped it around and made it into a Pathway song. So there was like one little leftover that we kind of brought along with us.
It's like I said, toward the end of the antecedents, we were starting to write more of the heavier stuff. And it was like, man, this is not fitting with what we're doing anymore. So it's like,
So what she's saying is that was the pathway to Pathway.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
And you know what? That's how you have to introduce it from here on out.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about the track. I'm very excited about. I don't know if you guys run into this, but like I kind of go. It's not necessarily like it's like nose blind. Like, you know, at a certain point you become nose blind to a smell. It's like, all right, well, it's time to take that out of the Sensi and we'll throw something else in.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've become sound blind to a lot of the like same things just coming out of rock. And this is very much so like, and I don't even know it's necessarily a throwback because it's truly not, but there's enough, like I can very obviously hear the influences, but it's very fresh.
Cool.
And I mean, was that a conscious effort to be like, you know, let's take from the old, but we got to put this new spin? Or
I've always approached projects kind of with the manner that you're saying. Is like, I always want to give people something familiar so they can relate to the sound, but always want to strive, you know, to be innovative. You know, like I said earlier in the post, I had never really, you know, we had never really like talked about the sound together very much, but we knew that like we had these influences from, you know, hardcore and punk and metal, but
and
also
emo,
90s rock. And a lot of those 90s grunge vibes had never been like blended with some of those early 2000 vibes. And that's who we are as people. You know, we all grew up as young people in the 90s and then, you know, really hit our stride as musicians in the 2000s. So it's like we have all those influences, even some 80s music, obviously. You know, it's like, you're going to hear all of that in Pathway.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, you can get caught up, you can go too far in one direction. You know, you can say it's all been done before, so I'm going to try to be as innovative as possible, and you can sacrifice a lot of you know, talent that one might have as a songwriter. And so I think when you bring a group of people together that have influences that they're all going to bring to the table, and you're all, you know, solid musicians and can piece a song together that is from your heart, then I think you're going to come out with something that's unique, but is also relatable by, you know, folks with different tastes and different preferences. So it's worked out so far, and we're enjoying the process.
Yeah.
no, I can't remember the last time that I've heard such a solid like debut track. Like it's strong. It kind of kicks you in the teeth, if you will. So, I mean, I'm very impressed and very excited to see what the future holds. I do want to talk about the visual aspect because there is, in fact, a video, and Pathway has a YouTube channel. You should go ahead and subscribe because I'm sure there's a lot of fun coming. So the video, that's some very strong animation.
Yeah, that's actually Erica's amazingly talented sister. She
let me give her a little shout out.
Yeah.
Her name is Angelica Esperanza. She's a super talented artist. We've been kind of communicating back and forth with her for a long time, bouncing ideas back and forth. She's very, very creative. And she's kind of helped us tame down all of some of Billy's somewhat wild ideas.
Now,
So
the person who put the video together was a girl named Cassie Ring.
yes.
And she's a photographer in the area who also has, started, delving into the media side of things. So, she's super talented as well and
very.
big help with everything as well.
No, final product looks amazing. I hearken back to, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Edward Gorey.
No.
So he wrote a series. First of all, he was way hooked on psychedelics. So he was always like high as a kite. But he wrote a series of children's books, and I use that very loosely. They were all things like there's one called the Gashley Crumb Tinies, and it goes through the alphabet, and it's just A, B, C, D. Like Tara fell off a train, and the train ran her over. T is for Tara.
Oh
But it's
gosh.
all very like simple monochromatic animation, and it just very much so like hits that impact. And the video has the same effect. Not that Tara got ran over by a train in the video. It very much so like has that, and it has a lasting impact. There's a whole design school, in fact, centering around that. Tim Burton actually ripped off quite a few of his ideas from Edward Gorey. So A+, just absolutely A+ on the video. The track kicks ass, and very excited to see what's to come from Pathway. I do have to ask, I don't know where you guys are at in planning, or as Erica mentioned, there's a whole album's worth of material. So what's next?
Well, we're kind of still like getting into show mode. We played a couple shows, early in October. We are going to be at Creek Bottom and Galax for New Year's Eve. That'll be the next show we're playing. But we have some more videos coming on the way, some new tracks. And these will be, actual music videos with us in them and things. But really it's one song at a time at this point. We all, have families and jobs and things. So it's like we have to juggle our professional lives along with trying to make music work as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're really excited for people to hear more and hear one of the tracks Erica sings, because she kills it.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to hearing more from Pathway. Give them some love on Facebook. Subscribe to them on YouTube. Check out the video. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
My pleasure.